everybody, come on in, grab a seat, make yourself at home as you should when you're in Bradley's house. I am lucky enough to be the Robin to her Batman. Maybe I'm more like the Robin to your Howard, right? Like, although, I don't know, I always kind of say that you're more like Larry King with your... Kelly, what I'm trying to say is you are my favorite elderly male Jewish journalist. Kelly Nowell, and this is Bradley's
Although
house.
I'm none of those things. I feel like you need to tell me ahead of time what you're going to say in your intro, because I lose it every time. I'm so sorry, but thank you for that, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. Well, I mean, hey, Howard Stern and Larry King, not too shabby of resumes there.
Yeah, no, for sure. For sure. Just not sure how I feel about being, never mind. All right, thank you, Jarett.
Now, Kelly, again, we wouldn't be able to continue to do this and put the show out for free. And obviously, the whole point of this is to raise funds to get Bradley's house open. And we touched on them briefly in the last episode, but a huge shout out to our friends at Compass Detox. Compass Detox has been a great supporter here at Bradley's house. We are going to have their CEO come on and talk to us a little bit about what they do. Basically, they're just an industry-leading addiction treatment brand. They have care teams that include doctors, nurses, counselors, techs, all sorts of professionals to help people out. It's person-centered treatment at the core of what they do. They realize that no two experiences are the same, and they really help to get your treatment set up specifically for you. We really thank them for sponsoring the show. And how can our listeners, if they're looking to make that jump, how can they get in contact with Compass?
Well, I will tell you. But first, I would like to say that I love the fact that we have a wonderful quality organization like Compass Detox that we can refer people to, because obviously we don't have Bradley's house open yet. And there are so many people outside of the music industry that listen to our podcast, that follow the Knowell Family Foundation on social media, and are often looking for help. And so I'm really grateful that we have someone like Compass Detox to be able to refer people to. They're in South Florida. They do a phenomenal job, and you can learn more about them on their website, which is compassdetox.com. You can also find them on Facebook and Instagram as Compass Detox FL for Florida, Compass Detox FL on Facebook and Instagram. And you can also call them at 1-800-26-DETOX, which is 263-3869. And that number, 24/7, they'll connect you with an addiction treatment specialist who can answer any questions or concerns, and there's no pressure to commit. So don't feel like you have to be ready to hop on a plane to give them a call. If you just want to know more, if you're looking for some help for yourself or a loved one, please reach out to them. They're a great organization, and they're there to help.
Absolutely. And we thank them so much for their continued support of the podcast and the foundation. And I look forward to having their CEO on and having a bit of a chat with them. So huge thank you to Compass Detox, guys. And go ahead and give them a follow on social media. I know they're always posting helpful things and different information. So like Kelly said, if you yourself, or if you just know somebody, if you hear them being spoken about on this podcast, you know that it's a company that we can stand behind and let you guys know that it's somebody that's there to help. All right, we're already having a lot of fun here in Bradley's house, guys. Thank you so much for joining us, Kelly. Once again, you know, I'm sitting here doing this with you, and I think to myself, we have like some of the coolest jobs in the world doing this, but the gentleman that you've invited to Bradley's house today maybe does have the coolest job in the world.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I'm super excited.
Who are we hanging out with today?
Our guest today is the co-owner and producer of California Roots Music and Arts Festival, which, as you know, is the largest reggae festival in the United States. So, you know, no biggie. He's the promoter and operational partner for music venues and outdoor festivals throughout North America. He's been in the music industry since 1999 as a radio DJ, owner of a production company, booker, promoter, tour producer, and owner of an iconic music venue. He's got a beautiful wife and daughter, and he cooks. We are stoked to have Dan Sheehan with us today. Welcome, Dan.
Well, thank you for such an intro. It's so good to be here. That was a great intro. I love it. I should come on the show more.
Right.
Larry King-esque, I might say.
I know. I definitely must compliment you on that, Jarett. That was Larry King, Howard Stern. Those are great. That's great company to be in. So, Kelly, you should be stoked.
I am, but I really enjoyed the Batman reference. So thanks for that. Mostly because I love cars and he's got the Batmobile.
He
But
does.
whatever. Well,
Yep.
thank you so much for coming on with us today, Dan. We're super excited to have you here. You really are a legend in this industry, which, being so young is probably an awkward thing to say, and obviously you've got a lot ahead of you, but you've really accomplished a lot in a short period of time. How did you
Thank
do
you.
all this?
It's so first I grew up in Hawaii, so I grew up listening to reggae music, and it was kind of the driving force of me getting into the music industry. And my first gig was actually getting the band Natural Vibrations, who's a band from Hawaii, into Reggae on the River. I think it was, '97, I think it was, and I knew the producer up there because I went to Reggae in the River the year before and fell in love with it. And I was like, oh my God, this is what I need to be doing. Of course, I was having a lot of fun out there. And so I kept on hounding Carol Bruno, the late Carol Bruno from People's Production up in Humboldt, about this band in Hawaii. It's like, hey, you got to check these guys out. These guys are great. And, blah, blah, blah. And next thing you know, she's like, all right, I have a 11 o'clock slot on Sunday for them. Will they take it? It's like, yeah, they will. I called her and he said, hey, you guys want this gig? And he said, yeah, let's do it. And the rest is history. They got in, we got them to Reggae on the River, and I was living with a bunch of roommates in Sunnyvale, California, which is in the Bay Area, and we had a garage that was converted to a room, and so they came in and they stayed with us for like 6 weeks. I probably booked 20 shows for them, not even knowing what I was doing. I went to Kinko's and made these 4-up flyers that I think had a grammatical or spelling error in them, and
those are classics now.
Yeah, I know exactly, and we did that, and we did shows in San Jose all the way to Seattle, and we did the Reef in Boise, Idaho, and I was just finding these, back then it's like the internet wasn't. As easy to do research as it is now. And there wasn't, Polestar was around, but I didn't have access to any of those things. And so I was just, trying to find these venues and put a little tour together. And these guys slept in my house, and I fell in love with the industry. And I went to Guam for 2 years right after that to be a DJ there and kind of there was a new station called I-94, which was all island and reggae music. And I got the job there as the music director and the nighttime DJ. I was Irie Dan, the Red Eye Bandit. And
nice.
Yeah, and so I did that for a year and a half, and I played everywhere from Fiji to Slightly Stupid to Sublime to Pepper and everything in between, and Lucky Dubé, and I had this whole thing called Marley Memories, and it was I did it at 8 o'clock, 8 to 8:30. It was all Bob Marley songs. It was Marley Memories, all the Marley tunes rolled up in one fat joint or something like that. And I fell in love with it and left Guam and came back to California, and really just kind of jumped headfirst into producing events and tours and doing other things to kind of keep building the companies and just like I said, I'm fortunate that I love what I do. I love this industry. I love events. I love the music that we produce. Over the years, we've obviously expanded to other different, other genres of music. But my main passion has always been reggae and reggae rock and the hip hop and influence stuff. And so it's like I said, I get to wake up every day. Well, it's last year I haven't woken up and done one show, but
yeah.
But for the most part, it's been a great ride, and I feel really optimistic about the future.
That's wonderful. I do think that your passion for it is what makes you so successful with it, because you can see, it's super clear just talking to you how much you love what you do. And I think that makes a big difference. So, okay, so you grew up in Hawaii, is that correct?
Yep.
On Oahu?
Yeah, on
Whereabouts?
Oahu, yep.
Whereabouts
Ewa
in
Beach.
Oahu?
Ewa
Okay.
Beach. Yeah. So I graduated from Campbell High School in 1995 and moved to the mainland to play football, and yeah, and then that's kind of where everything ended up. And I, got Natural Vibes and did that whole thing, and didn't do much football anymore, and did music.
Nice. Do you still have family in Oahu?
My parents recently they moved probably like 2 or 3 years ago, so I don't have any like blood relatives there, but I have lots of friends and
Of course.
people that I grew up with, and Hawaii's been a huge influence in kind of the direction that I took, and my love for reggae, and I brought Revolution there first, I brought Soja there first, and so it's like we did a
Wow.
lot of we did a lot of shows in Hawaii until I realized that you make money on Oahu and then you lose it on the neighbor islands, because it was so hard to
Yeah.
get from island to island, and kind of midway through our time of doing shows in Hawaii, which was like 2002 to 2005, they started adding baggage fees, and as you know, it's
Ouch.
like bands traveling with I'm bringing a 9-piece band that has keyboards,
Oh gosh.
and all of a sudden these baggage fees are adding up to like $1,000 per leg of the trip,
Yeah.
and it was hard, and like Aloha Airlines went out of business, and there's airline
Yeah.
TW
That was sad.
ATA that went out of business.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden I just had Hawaiian Air, and so prices went up, and we stopped doing shows in Hawaii, unfortunately. But you know
Oh.
yeah, but it's I always tell Amy, it's like, gosh, man, if we could just do 2 shows a year on Oahu, and like go in, make some
Mm.
money, go on vacation, and and be
Yeah, it's a
good.
good
So
deal. Yeah. So for
yeah,
those who
yeah,
don't know, Amy is your lovely wife who I
yep,
adore. I've had the pleasure of working with her when the No Family Foundation took part in Cali Roots in 2019.
yep.
And I just fell in love with her. She's just wonderful. Good
Yeah, she's
choice there.
awesome. She sends her love, and
Oh,
yeah, she sends her love, and my daughter McKenna, who's going to be she's 5.5, and
oh my.
she turned 6 in June, and I it's a little off topic, but I one of the things that I tell everybody now, it's like, gosh, the last Cali Roots she was at, which was 2019, to the next Cali Roots, she's going to be almost 7. She was 4 at the last one, and she's gonna,
Whoa.
it's 3 years between the last band that played Cali Roots to the first band that plays in 2022.
That's crazy.
I know. When you put it in
Strange
perspective of
times.
when you put it in perspective of your child's age, it's like, oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they're
Yeah.
kind of almost 6, going on 14. So.
Wow, I
Wow.
know that. How about a
Yeah.
shout out? A shout out to Natty Vibes. Wow, that was awesome hearing that you worked with them. Anyone who's listening, if you guys haven't checked out Natural Vibrations, you need to, after this podcast is over, of course, look them up and check out some of their stuff. That's really cool. I don't know if I've ever had a conversation with anyone about it, and that's how you got your start in the business. It's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, those guys were. I mean, they were playing like graduation parties and stuff in Hawaii when I was growing up, and I remember seeing them in like some backyard parties, and and we just bonded really. We just bonded, and I've been working with them, for ever since then, and so we still do some work here and there together, and I think they got the whole band back together now. Penny's back, and so it's they're good guys, and I think I always kind of joke. I think they kind of hit like 5 years before like this whole like American reggae kind of scene kind of really took off to where it's at now, because I mean their sound and their show was just it is so good, so and they're kind of like the OGs in the game now.
Yeah, you can tell I've been in some rabbit holes in YouTube looking up different reggae rock, and that's how I came across them. I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. I started finding some old videos, and there wasn't enough views on them for how good they
Yeah.
are. So just amazing that that's how you got your start. That's really cool.
Yeah. YouTube's funny like that. I come across videos all the time. I'm like, really? Why does this only have 733 likes? And who's the one person that disliked this? Like,
Right.
who is this one person?
I think it's the same person that just goes around disliking everything.
I agree. I constantly wonder, like, wow, like there's like 20,000, positive likes on this, and there's one dislike. Huh? Interesting. But everybody, that's the beautiful thing about music, So it's all
Exactly.
a
It's
matter of
art.
taste. Yeah,
subjective,
absolutely.
that's for
Yeah,
sure. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, we have a bunch of family over in Hawaii that have been there since the 40s. So for my family, Hawaii has always been like a second home because like the largest concentration of our relatives in one area is all over there in Hawaii. That's
Wow.
nice. Yeah.
Yeah, which island?
Oahu. Yeah,
Nice.
mostly
Yeah.
Oahu. And then my favorite place on the planet is the North Shore of Kauai, which
Oh,
is, yeah, just a beautiful, magical place. But
yeah.
okay, so raised on Oahu, and then did you end up over in Guam because of the DJ opportunity, or were you there and then the opportunity came up?
They brought me out there for the DJ opportunity, and because I had a friend, in Guam, there's there's two families that owned most of the island, and I had a friend that his family owned the radio station, the TV stations, and he's like, hey, we're starting this new station, and I was what 20, 23 at the time, I think 24. And I was like, yeah, absolutely. I needed a change of scenery, just kind of needed that change, which I think, is so good for us to have. And
Sure.
I took the opportunity and I was there almost 2 years. I left right after, the thing about Guam is like there's these massive typhoons that come through. And
Right.
not so much in the last 5 years, but I was in two typhoons and a 7.8 earthquake because it sits right on the plates sit right
Whoa.
on the Mariana Trench, and so like the street,
Yeah.
like it's very, it definitely, this earthquake was massive, and but these typhoons, I was in this one called Super Typhoon Pongsong Wa. It's like a Korean word, and it was like 220 mile an hour sustained winds, like 240 miles
What?
gust. No, this thing was
No.
massive, and like the house I was in like was right on the eye wall, and so everybody knows anybody that knows storms, like the eye wall is like, that's vicious. Like it's like that's the strongest winds, and then
Oh.
the eye will pass over, and then it's like this super calm, eerie feeling, and then the wind comes back and it starts going the other way. And so we just got, I mean,
Whoa.
the village I was in just got wrecked, and I was like, I'm ready to go now. I'm ready to go, and so
Yeah, well done.
I went back to Hawaii and lived with my parents for a few months, and then moved to California with the intention of starting my first company was Good Vibes Entertainment, and yeah, started
And
that
that
and
was
started
in
doing.
Northern California, right?
That
Why
was in Northern
there?
California. I had friends, and I mean that's kind of where I went after college. Went to the Bay Area, and then I had friends that were in Santa Cruz and the Monterey area, and I went to go live with them, and yeah, that's how I ended up here. And now
Nice.
we live in Monterey, so it's
Yeah. Beautiful laid back vibe there, probably
it
very
is.
Hawaii-esque. Yeah.
It is, and so is the house prices. Same, very similar.
Yeah, exactly. So you felt right at home, I'm
Felt right at
sure.
home. I felt right at home. Yeah, yeah.
So that's where
So
you started Good Vibes Entertainment, and that's when you started booking shows and tours, starting with the
yep,
Hawaiian reggae bands, yeah?
yep. Started with the Hawaii reggae bands, and then I started moving to some of the roots reggae artists, and so I did the band Midnight. Probably did them 30 times over a 5 year period. And yeah, just started doing a lot of the root stuff because no one was doing it in the area, so it was easy for me to kind of push my way in because it's like in the the music business, it's like it's hard to like go into a market like Santa Cruz, which was a very established market, and get some of the acts that I wanted to get because they were playing the Catalyst or they were playing Lucaville. They were playing those venues. So I had to do all my shows at the Vets Hall, which is this really cool 550 cap venue in Santa Cruz that had no alcohol, but it was like it was smoke friendly, and so it's like so the Roots reggae shows did really well there, and so we did a bunch of those. Did a bunch of Anthony B shows and Barrington Levy shows, the Mighty Diamonds and the Itals, and then I started working with Moss Jacobs. Who did Bob Marley days in San Diego and Long Beach, and now he's with Nederlander. Now he's with Golden Voice. But we started doing an event called Santa Cruz Days, which was kind of the spin-off of the Bob Marley days down south. And so they would do Long Beach, President's Day weekend, and then San Diego would be President's Day, and then that following week, that package would work its way up north, and then we would do Thursday or Friday in Santa Cruz, and then Sunday it would go play the Bill Graham Civic or Kaiser, the Oakland venue, and so we did that for a few years, and then those kind of went away, and we just started doing shows in Hawaii and booking various venues through the West Coast.
And then how did you get involved with Cali Roots? That was in the third year of it, right? That you started?
Correct. I came on in the third year, and so my partner who founded it, Jeff Monzer, he founded it, and he kind of grew a lot in the first 2 years. The first year was like 1,700 people, and the second year was like 2,500 people. And then the third year, he realized that he needed some help to kind of keep growing it. And so he approached me about it and about partnering with him on it. And I came on, booked the talent that year, brought my team on to kind of run the operations, switched the ticketing up, kind of like turned it into, because it was, he was like still using a platform where the same kind of platform where you sell T-shirts, he was selling tickets through, and he was mailing hard tickets, and so we kind of got a ticketing deal to kind of help streamline that whole thing, and up the marketing. And next thing you know, we did, I think that third year we did 7,500 people a day. We had Pepper headlining one night and Soji headlining the other nights, and that was kind of it. And year 4 we sold out 2 months in advance. And,
Whoa!
That was huge. And then year 3 we moved into into the current venue that we're in now, which we call the Bowl as our main stage. And we were there, and we sold that out. We sold that out like 3 weeks in advance, and that was at 13,000 a day. And then we just kind of kept moving forward, and it's been we've been around those numbers every year. We had 1 year where our numbers are down a little bit, but I think I strongly believe that festivals they go through cycles. I really think you have to rotate. Like if you had 90% of your ticket buyers every single year buying tickets every single year, the healthier festival, there's a problem there, because it's like you don't have the new people, and then people get older, they have kids, they have jobs that don't allow it, they've grown out of the music, they've grown out of festivals, and so we really put a lot of effort into marketing and getting people in. So we're like, our ratio is we try to get like 60% return, 40% new every year. So you constantly have a fresh batch of people that, fall in love with the festival and want to come every year. So
that's wonderful. Well, I can say from personal experience, you guys do a phenomenal job. I had always wanted to go with my kids, but they both were volleyball players, and there was always a tournament that weekend on Memorial Day weekend. And so anyway, we were finally fortunate enough to be able to tie in as the Knowell Family Foundation in 2019, as I mentioned, and I was blown away. I mean, it was just such a beautiful atmosphere and a great vibe, and everyone was just so great to work with. It was wonderful, and we were really looking forward to it last year. I was heartbroken when it got canceled. How has that been, just adjusting to this whole COVID and having to shut down a festival like that 2 years in a row now?
It's some days are better than others. When it first started happening, I remember everything super vividly, because it's not just a festival, it's our entire business, all the venues, all of our independents, our amphitheater shows, everything. And so I was having these conversations in late January. I was having conversations. I try to do 4 or 5 mile walk every morning. It's gotten less over the last few months, but at that time I was doing 4 or 5 miles every morning, and my entire walk I was on the phone with managers, agents, colleagues, and we were all talking about COVID and how is this going to affect us, because like we kind of if you do any it's like we weren't putting our heads in the sand. Like we knew this thing was coming. We didn't know it was going to be how it's how long it's been and the effect that it's had, but we saw this thing coming. And we kept on having conversations, and I remember the day of March 13th. We got the shutdown. We had a show at the Fremont that night that I had to call our house manager and like, you got to shut this down, and we can't do it. States being shut down. And then we went and kind of thought about the festival. And for me, it's been a really, I've felt it's very important to the way we put out the word. And so our first postponement, because we've done this, 3 times now. Our first postponement, I did this video and, kind of just reached out to the people directly on kind of a human to human level, instead of just a email and a social media
Right.
post. Because we were all going through it. We're all still going through it, and so
Right.
I think I thought it was, I think it's very important that we all understand that, and so we put out this messaging, and we had the lineup. Fortunately, all the bands, like we have great relationships with the bands and the agents and everybody involved, so we were able to move the 100% of the lineup to October. And then we were like, all right, like let's kind of keep moving forward. And we were doing a bunch of streaming, and we really, me and Amy really pivoted to the brand, which is our merchandise, which is everything from clothing to candles to to stickers, and like we really pivoted to that. And fortunately, like the brand is strong enough to carry a brand like that. So we were able to generate revenue for that, but also stay relevant. I think that's always been my biggest fear during this is, like I said earlier, having 3 years between festivals. You really have to work to stay relevant, and you really have to work to like engage your fans and give your fans content that's not
Right.
selling tickets, that's not pushing something that like they can't do right now. And so it was hard. I mean, I think the silver lining out of it right now is the time that I've been able to spend with my daughter. And like it's any other summer I would have been traveling, because I helped produce Levitate on the East Coast. I would have been out there for 3 weeks. I would have been, we have Avila Beach, which is where we do our outdoor shows. We have 5 or 6 of those from May to October, and plus just kind of going to shows and hanging out with friends and doing what you do, and to not have that and have this shutdown, like I've had the time I've spent with her it's priceless, and which kind of has made me kind of rethink our approach to what we're doing, and
Sure.
maybe I don't need to be traveling all over the place to do shows. Maybe we just focus on Monterey, Avila, and San Luis Obispo, and we're good. And we don't have to expand into other markets. We don't have to, because like spending time with family, it's so valuable. And it's been, that part's been great. Like I said, definitely some days are harder than others. Some days it's like, not recently, because I feel there's like a light at the end of the tunnel. Like we still have a long road to get to that light, but I feel like we're getting closer, with the vaccines and cases going down, and just kind of, just a better direction that we're going in. But for a while there, I'm like, oh my God, are like events ever going to come back? Like, we put all this work into building our event business, and like, what am I going to do now? Like, I mean, it's like, do I got to go work somewhere? Like, what am I going to do? It's like, and so, I mean, like I said, and then I'm like, no, you like, regardless, like we're entrepreneurs, like, like we hustle and we grind and we build things, like we can build something else, but, it's like, you have so much passion, so much love for what you do. It's like, you can't imagine doing something else, but, yeah, so it's been good. It's been challenging, and it's also been eye-opening to a lot of other things. And we're also able to develop our other parts of our business, and so hopefully when we do come back, like our brand business is is much stronger, and it can stand on its own too, and we don't have to, it can be, it can do its thing and generate revenue and generate just cool stuff. So yeah, so it's been, like I said, it's been a mixed bag.
Yeah. So you guys have done some live streams, right?
Yep. Yep, and we're going to do another one. I'm planning another one for the weekend of Cali Roots this year, which
Wonderful.
I really hope is our last one because the live
Yeah.
streams are cool. The live streams are cool, but nothing beats being in person.
Right, right. That's for sure. Well, Cali Roots has always held a special place in my heart because it happens on Memorial Day weekend, which is typically when we celebrate the anniversary of Brad's death. But
Yep.
he died on March 25th, which was Memorial Day weekend that year.
May.
And I'm sorry, May. You're right. Yeah, May. He died on May 25th, which was Memorial Day weekend that year. And so every year when Cali Roots comes around, that's always right around that time. And when we were there representing the Knoll Family Foundation in 2019, it happened that exact weekend. So that was
Yep.
a really cool thing for our family to be able to be there. And yeah, that was just a really neat time. And then Arizona Roots, which you guys also do, happens on the
Yep.
weekend of his birthday. So
Yeah.
I appreciate that we've got all those days covered, and it keeps me busy and focused on other things, which I enjoy.
Yeah. It was so great seeing you guys out there and meeting your dad, and that was awesome. That was our last show. That was
Yeah.
the last show I produced was Arizona Roots. It was
Yeah.
muddy, and it was
wet.
yeah, from a logistical and financial standpoint, it wasn't that great. But
It was
when
crazy.
when I look back at it, I was like, wow, that was the last show. And my dad was at that show, and
Oh,
and so God, it rained. It rained the most it did in Phoenix, Arizona, in one day that in 50 years. It was crazy.
yeah. It was
dumped
record
13
breaking.
inches. Yeah, 13 inches
Yeah.
in 4 hours. Like, what is going on? What is
Yeah.
happening?
It was an insane amount of water. I'm not going to lie. It was crazy. We were just looking like, you've got to be kidding. And it was all dirt. And so I remember we went to where our booth was that Saturday morning, and it was just a huge mud puddle. I can't imagine what that must have been for you guys having to deal with all that. But, everyone made the best of it, and it still was a great weekend.
Yeah, I would take that right now. I would, yeah.
Right.
I always joke because I would take one of these bands' crazy guest list or their crazy riders. I would take it all right now. And then someone reminds me, well, I'll remember this when we come back. I'm like, I'm joking. I'm joking.
Never mind. So how did you connect with Avila Beach Resort? Because I know that summer series has just been phenomenal the last, I don't know, 7 or 8 years. How long has that been going on?
Well, so I've been involved for, this is going to be my 8th season. 8th season, and I have or 9th season. I think it's 9th season. So Bruce Howard, who's the main promoter there, he was kind of like a mentor to me when I was younger, kind of coming up in the music industry. And he's a San Luis Obispo promoter, and we're actually partners on a couple other ventures. But he's he was, he brought me into it, and I had the, like I said, I had the relationships with the Slightly Stupids and the Revolutions and the Damian Marleys, and so that was kind of my in there. It's like, all right, we'll bring in these bands. They love the venue, the backdrops, the ocean, and it doesn't get much better than that.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and so we started doing shows there, and like I said, we've expanded. Like I'm doing a lot of country shows there now, like. I probably have, when we get back to it, we probably have 5 country shows lined up in the next, once we open back up. We did Social Distortions there, Social Distortion, Mike Ness. I can remember backstage, all of a sudden, like, who is that swimming in the lagoon behind stage? And there's Mike Ness swimming in the backstage. And it's like, who I randomly just introduced my daughter to today because she was like, I want to listen to like something a little bit more with edge. I'm like, all right, let's put some Social D on, So
nice, good choice.
Yeah. So she was rocking out to that, and we did a Flogging Molly Dropkick Murphy show there that was
wow,
so fun, and so Avila's been great to us. That's one of those shows where majority of the time, like we take me, Amy, and McKenna go down. We rent a little Airbnb across the street, and then we stay there. We stay 2 or 3 days after the show. So, like that's one of the things that I want my daughter to kind of grow up going to that and being being around that. I think that's all, the other thing that I've missed so much about going shows is, the family vibe, and my daughter growing up there, and my daughter being in the production office, and me and Amy working side by side on something. And I think, those are the
Yeah,
things that, that we miss a lot, over the last
definitely.
year. So,
It's cool that you can make it a family thing. I know Amy's
yeah.
the operations manager for Cali Roots. Is that right?
Yeah. She's
That's
operations
nice.
manager, and my manager keeps me in line. So brings me back to earth when I want to do something crazy. So,
Good
um,
for her. It can't be an
yeah,
easy job.
no, it's not. It's not.
Good for her.
Uh,
Oh,
another
don't you
thing that.
remember? Go ahead.
Oh no, go
Go ahead.
ahead.
No. I was just gonna say, it's like she always reminds me. Don't you, like, you remember you said you didn't want to put that in the budget? I'm like, yeah, you're right. You're right. I don't, well, tickets are selling well. You said you didn't want to put that in the budget. I'm like, you're right. You're right. All right, we won't do that
Damn. Keeps your feet on the
then.
ground. Yeah.
Yeah, got it. Someone's got it.
Another thing that can't be an easy job is getting these lineups set up. I know that every year as fans, we wait for the Cali Roots lineup to come. And it's almost like when the coach posts the lists on the locker room wall of who made the team, you're
Yep.
going through, making sure, oh, yes, yeah. All right. I
Yeah.
mean, how difficult is it at this point that Cali Roots has become such a big deal to these bands that sometimes you probably have to leave people out that you don't want to?
Yeah, I mean that's that's definitely definitely a common thing that we unfortunately have to deal with at times. I think it's building the lineup is definitely one of the funnest parts of it. I have this giant whiteboard, and I have this, I kind of place everything. And, for me, I feel it's really important. Like, the days matter, like who's playing with each other on the days, because then you can look at different collaborations. You can look at how does it flow. It's like making a mixtape, and
Mm.
it's like those old school mixtapes where you're like, you put the tissue in the holes, and like so you can record over it, and you're making these mixtapes, and
Okay, not so old school. Thank you very much.
It's funny you say that, though, because I was thinking, I'm like, man, he's putting together these festivals. He's probably sitting at home right now coming up with the coolest fucking playlists in the world, just booking
Yeah.
his own festivals.
Yeah,
Oh
I'm
yeah.
sure.
So I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, and so we put it all together, and and then we just start sending out offers. And the good thing is for Cali Roots, the fact that we're earlier in the season, being over Memorial Day weekend, like most of these bands have turned it into a one-off, so a lot of them are either flying in, or they're renting the bus for the weekend, or they're coming in 17 SUVs. And
Whoa.
I mean, it's, yeah, some of it's crazy, but and then we just kind of, a lot of times there's a bunch of bands that have been elusive that I've not been able to get, which I just, I like. Fat Freddy's Drop out of New Zealand is one of the bands I've been trying to get for years, and I just can't. I can't get it. Either my offer's not enough, or they just don't want to travel to the U.S. Which, I mean,
Mm.
you do great business in Europe and New Zealand, and why, sometimes the U.S. isn't the biggest market, so.
Sure.
Manu Chao is another one that I would love to book,
Oh,
and
yeah.
we've actually put offers in for him, and he just doesn't work right now, and so there's definitely a couple acts I would love to get, and this year I'm like, excited that we have Jimmy Cliff, and we got Ice Cube on it this year, which I felt like Damien, Ice Cube kind of like went really well together,
Yeah.
kind of like that urban trip. And so, I think it's kind of this combination of how you kind of piece it together, and, one of my least favorite parts about it all is the billing, which, if I have any of my manager friends or agent friends listening, they'll probably call me and give me shit about, oh, I'm sorry. Give me a hard time about it, but,
No, you can say shit.
okay, I can say shit. Great. Thank you.
I said fuck.
No, damn shit. All right. You guys are awesome. But nah, it's like, the billing part is one of the hardest parts. It's like everybody wants to be billed above another, and
Right.
I have literally have managers that will they'll print out the poster, and they'll get their ruler out, and they'll measure it. Like they measure the name, make sure it's the same size as the other band, and
Wow.
it's pretty common. It's comical, but it definitely there's a few weeks there when I'm dealing with the billing that definitely drives me crazy. So.
I'm sure. Now, all the acts that you had planned for this year, were you able to secure them all for next year, or is it going to be different?
Most of them. We had to replace one of our headliners, so Stick Figure couldn't he couldn't do it this for next year. We had another engagement,
Mm,
wedding or something to go to, but so they were going to replace it with another act, which we'll be announcing in probably 3 weeks. And Jimmy Cliff, he's on it, but we're not able to announce it yet. But other than that, and we added a Thursday, which we have, Dirty Heads are headlining on Thursday, and we have a couple other acts in there as well. And so we added the Thursday to make it a 4-day festival. Why not? So,
yeah,
um, you know,
that'll be interesting. So this will be the
yeah,
first time, right?
yeah. It's be the first time it's 4 days, and my original plan when I added it was because I wanted to give the fans that held on to their tickets the first time. I wanted to give them, hey, here's, we're going to give you the Thursday for free, and it's now a 4-day ticket
Nice.
that you have, and so that's what it turned into, and I'm extremely confident. That once things open back up and festivals are happening again, that we'll see record sales at these events. I mean, it's just there's a pent up demand. People, I
No
Yes.
think,
doubt.
there's like much more of an appreciation. I think a lot of people appreciated it, but I think even now it's just like, God, like, at any given moment, like, I mean, live music was taken from us, and it's just like, I mean, which is crazy. Like none of us thought that what we're going through right now could happen. I mean, there was, scientists and stuff that probably thought it, but, there's, for the most part, I didn't think our industry would just come to a screeching halt. Like literally in a day, our industry was shut down. So,
Nuts.
and so I think there's going to be this whole pent up demand. And I think, I was talking to somebody about this today. It's like a lot of us are going to have to, like we're all going to have a little rust. We're going to have to knock the rust off, and
Yeah.
like there's going to be a couple like mistakes that we make out of the gate because damn, I haven't done this in a year. It's like all right. It's like when you don't ride a bike for a year, it's like you can still ride it, but it's like you're a little shaky. I'm like, all right,
Sure.
let me get back on this, and I think even the bands, I was joking. It's like I think like rehearsal space right now is going to be in super high demand because like all these bands who haven't played in a year, let alone seen each other in a year, will have to like get back to playing live, and like you're going to have to like get your show back. You're going to have to get your chemistry grooving again, and you're going to have to like get all that stuff going again. And it's
Yeah.
so it's gonna be an interesting time ahead of us. I mean, we've lived through an interesting time, but I think
Yeah.
the
That's for sure.
more interesting times ahead.
It's got to be a lot of pressure to have to make that call about whether or not to have a show. I mean, like after it's been a year, everyone's getting a little tired of the whole shutdown thing. Where I live in Southern California, we're still on, whatever this level, I don't know, purple tier or something like that, because so many of the hospitals are full. But yet when I was driving home from work today, there were, kids playing soccer in the park and, clearly team sports that are starting to engage. How do you make that decision? Like at what point do you decide to open everything up? Or, I mean, are you just going strictly based on what the state will allow, or what do you do to decide that?
So this last time when we decided to just push an entire year, there's multiple factors that came into play, and I made this decision probably in December. I just didn't want to roll it out during the holidays, and just I wanted to wait until the new year. But for me, there's multiple factors, and I think I'm also I'm more realistic than others. I think some people are a little delusional on how quick we're going to come back. I think it's like the reality of it is like we're going to be, COVID's going to be with us, forever. It's like it's just a matter of we're going to be living with it, like we live with the flu, and
Right.
and so things, even though things are getting better and the vaccines are rolling out, quickly, and people, things are going down, like we still have a long road ahead of us. And for me, it's like, yeah, I could have maybe moved Cali Roots to the fall, maybe October, but like maybe it might not happen again, and then maybe we have to like postpone this one more time. And like, how many
Yeah.
times? How many times can the fans take it till they're like, you know what, I'm
Right.
over it,
That's
I'm done.
brutal.
Yeah, just give me my money back. I'm tired of this, and like let's just and so we decided not to do that. I also like felt that if fall does open, like, do I want to be a part of the experiment of one of the first festivals to be open? Like, I don't think
Right.
so. Um,
Right.
and then if things do open, like the traffic out there is going to be insane. There's so many. I mean, just like on our independent stuff, like our amphitheater stuff, like the veils that like, everybody wants to try to fit a year of touring into 2 months, and uh, which is just, it's going to be crazy. There's going to be so much so much supply, and hopefully there's enough demand to go around to satisfy the guarantees and the stuff that these artists need. But so there was multiple factors, and I just felt that moving to May of 2022 was the best decision for us, to withstand this, to kind of just focus on producing that event, and not wake up in the middle of the night thinking about like, oh my God, like, are we gonna have to move this again? Like, I am 95% confident that 2022 will happen. I still have to leave a 5% in there because I don't want to set myself up emotionally, and what I mean.
Yeah.
I still have to have a caution. I still have to be cautious because it's like, I mean, nothing's guaranteed right now, and
Right.
so, so yeah, so we made that decision, and, I stand strong with it. I think it was the right decision. And, I've talked to a few agents, and they're like, we use Cali Roots as an example to other festivals, that like, this is probably what you should be doing, instead of trying to force something. Because like, the other thing is like, if we did the festival in October, right, and then what do we turn around, and 7 months later we do Cali Roots, we do the May one again? Like, it's just,
Yeah. It's tough.
yeah, it's just like, what, let's ride it out. It's going to be tight, but let's do it, and hopefully we can get some grant money from the government. There's the Shuttered Venues operational grant, which is
Right.
it should be a lifesaver for a lot of venues and a lot of independent festivals. And hopefully, I'm confident we get some of that, and and kind of survive. But I also feel now that we can. I feel the way things are going, we can actually start marketing too. Like, we can start, you know, running digital ads and doing street team, and doing some of the traditional marketing that we have done, because I feel like before this, like, we couldn't, right? It was like it wasn't in good taste to market through the height of
Right.
the height of the pandemic, and like like especially through especially through October, November, December, it just was not the time to like try to sell tickets, and so like all no marketing's happening, and but now I feel like, all right, we can start marketing, we can start selling tickets, and tickets are selling well for us. I mean, we refunded a bunch, and then a bunch of people bought tickets, and so you know
Wonderful.
people are, it's like people, like, we're all tired of it. Like the fatigue of this is it's draining, it's mentally draining. So I think people having something to look forward to, like your favorite festival, your favorite act, or I'm going to go to the Greek and see Slightly Stupid there, or like, what I mean, whatever.
Right.
Like, it's just, you have something to look forward to, which I think is why a lot of people kept their tickets too, and
Mm-hmm.
help, they like supported the festival, and like, all right, we got your back. Like, it's like, well, like, we're going to keep our ticket. You guys keep the tickets, and they have something to look forward to. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, you do have a very loyal following. And I think that that's, just because of years of consistently providing a great festival experience for so many people. And so I think it's wonderful to see how many people still support that.
Yeah, no, I agree, and that's I think there's other festivals that have, similar followings, but I think that's definitely one of the things that has kept us alive and kept us, kept the festival strong is the loyal fan base that we have. I mean, the fans, they love Cali Roots, and they have supported it for years, and the bands love Cali Roots, and it's a really good synergy that we have going, and I think it's something that I really do believe that we're going to come out even stronger on this when things
Yeah.
do open up.
While we're on the topic, if people want to get more information about Cali Roots or grab some merch, where do they go to do that?
So the main festival site is CaliforniaRootsFestival.com, and our brand website is CaliforniaRootsBrand.com. And so the brand site has all of our clothing, stickers,
Great
candles.
merch.
We have a bunch of drops coming.
Yeah.
Amy's been working hard on a couple of new drops that she's gonna have. So
Wonderful.
yeah, we're so like I said, we're thankful for that, but like I said, we're also like, all right, like we want to pivot back to events, because that's, I mean, I love
Sure.
going to merch, but like also want to I also want to
Yeah.
produce some events here. So
Yeah. Well, fortunately, you guys were already working with some great artists, some
yeah.
great merch companies. So I think that's been a really good fit, and something, that's allowed you to carry you through this time, because you already
Uh-huh.
had those relationships established. So that was
Absolutely.
nice. Yeah. Now
Absolutely. We didn't have to we didn't have to start from the ground up on that.
exactly, right. Now, how did you get involved with the Fremont Theater in San Luis Obispo?
So the Fremont, so Bruce Howard, who brought me into Avila, like I said, we've worked together for years, and he brought it to me and said, "Hey, you want to partner with me on this?" And I mean, I love the venue. I don't know if you've ever been there, but I mean, it's this really cool old theater. It's like 1942.
Oh, wow.
Was the grand opening. It's got this really cool artwork in it, and it's a 900 cap room, and it's like right in downtown San Luis Obispo. So it's like towards the end of Monterey Road, right by the courthouse is, and it's this really classy venue. It's like absolutely, and I love San Luis Obispo. I think it's I love the market. I love the city. Avila's right there. It's just such a good vibe there. It's got such a young energy because of the university's
The
there, Cal
school.
Poly's there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just got this really cool energy to it. And I was like, absolutely. And it's 2 hours from, I can get there from my house to the Fremont in like 2 hours and 10 minutes, And so I'm like, yeah, like, let's do it. So we ended up partnering on that with a few other partners. And yeah, and then, just really kind of dived into it, and I've kind of been the operational lead on it, the
Mm.
managing partner on it, and it's another one that's just like, I mean, we went completely dark March 13th. That was it, and we haven't been
Wow.
open. We had to lay off all of our staff, and it's like
Oh,
this. Yeah, it's just those kind of things. It's just like it's you work. Like I said, you work for years to build something, and then in a matter of a matter of a day, it's like completely shut down. So yeah, so that's the Fremont, and but we're confident that the Fremont will be able to open in a reduced capacity, probably I'd say by the fall.
good.
Yeah, so I feel good about the San Luis Obispo numbers. Excuse me. The San Luis Obispo numbers are, I think they're not. It's not a hotbed, and so I think the numbers are going down there. But you know, so I mean, yeah, I always joke. I was like, I want these venues to open, but like, I also want schools to open. I want my kid to go to school, for
Right.
many different reasons. It's like,
Sure.
I was thinking that earlier when you were talking about how great it is spending all this time with your kid, and I'm sitting here like, maybe I'm a horrible person because I would do anything for my kids to be back in school full time right now.
Oh,
no, don't get me
Um,
wrong. Don't get me wrong. Like, she was, it has been great, but like I look forward to her. I mean, she was supposed to start kindergarten, and
wow.
so it's like
that's a
now
big
it's like
thing to miss.
I agree, and I'm like in my head, or I'm talking to Amos, like, so now is first grade going to be the new kindergarten? Because like
Right.
there's this whole like like leaving the home, and like this whole like this coming of age thing that kindergarten
Yeah.
provides, and yeah, so it's we're looking forward to schools opening back up, and so we can, because like right now it's like you know Amy teaches in the morning. I work until 1 o'clock, and then Amy goes into the office, and I come home, and it's like, so we're not, like we're splitting our days as best we can, and so Amy can do her job, and I can do my stuff, but like we're not necessarily in the office at the same time, which kind of it's like you want to have that collaborative workspace,
Right.
which
It's
it's hard sometimes working in the office by yourself, so.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Dan, I got to ask you, you've been doing this for a long time. You've worked with a ton of huge names. You don't have to name the name if you don't want to. But tell me the craziest rider request you can remember in all of your years.
Craziest rider request. Oh man. I mean, obviously I see a ton of alcohol on these, so the alcohol doesn't faze me anymore. The craziest rider I've actually seen was Lauryn Hill's rider. Big ups Miss Hill, because she's a rock star. But at one point the rider that we saw it was like literally like vehicles. The type of vehicle you had was divided up on was whatever day it was. So like Wednesday is a blacked out SUV. Thursday is a 33-foot long RV, which we had a Thursday show. So I'm like, do we need to get so are you saying we need a 33-foot long RV? Why is the size so specific? Yeah. So
why not 34? Wow.
But yeah, it's like the riders, like I said, sometimes I get some of the riders are pretty excessive on alcohol. Like, really? Like, do you really need 7 kegs of beer? I love the band that requests that, and fortunately for us, our beer sponsors also love the band, so they actually grant the wish. But
nice.
I won't say that band, but because then I'll get probably someone will call me and say, "Hey, you talking shit about my band? Drinking too much?" I'm like,
well, they know who they are.
They know exactly. They know who they are.
Nobody else knows, but they know.
Exactly. They know. And internally, they're like, damn it, dude, he's talking about us.
Yeah, I get it. Kelly, I got to send Kelly. I got to send her M&M. I got to pick the green M&Ms out that I have to send to her before the show. And she's
so not true.
It's the same.
He's lying. It's lies. All lies. All lies.
I mean, some of the Jamaican artists, man. Like I saw one Jamaican artist that actually asked for a pound of weed. I'm like, a pound of weed? Like, like, what are you talking about? Like, and this is like, what are you talking about?
Wow.
So before that was like, legal, you had a guy like, hey Jimmy, you got to go out and grab a bunch of weed because we had the guy. So fortunately, we're going straight to the source. So it was, we definitely got much better prices because we had to. But it's. Some of the Jamaicans, like, wow, that is a lot of weed, So, but yeah, then you see them, they get up on stage and they're tossing it out. You're just like,
I know. You're like, oh my god. So exactly. I'm like, really? Did he just throw that out? But
amazing.
Yeah, the things you have to do, like when we had Jamaican artists that we brought to Hawaii, that everybody knows Hawaii. It's like weed's a little bit more expensive out there, so we didn't want to buy it there, so we brought it with us. So we had to do those things. But I might have just screwed myself up on that one. Someone's gonna be knocking on my door.
It's got to be statute of limitations or something.
I hope so.
I can tell you that we'll edit it out right now if that makes you feel any better. But come Wednesday morning.
I'm fine.
This has really been awesome to chat with you and hear about all these amazing things that you've done. And from a fan standpoint, I have to tell you that it's the name Cali Roots that brings the attention. It truly is. Now, I know you work with a bunch of great artists and a bunch of great bands, but, I watch the Cali Roots videos on YouTube. I've never been in the area for one of the shows, unfortunately, but I always look for them and look for the streams and go back and watch the videos after. And it doesn't matter who the bands are. You guys do a phenomenal job out there. And I don't know anybody that's ever been there and hasn't had a great time. So just to hear about how you got all this going and all the things that you've been able to do is amazing, man. It's really awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And, I do feel that, the Cali Roots name is strong, and it can carry, the festival, and it can carry the brand. Like I said, I'm fortunate that, this is what I can do, and I provide, kind of like this open canvas for fans. I always say, like with the festival, it's like when people come in, it's like we provided this canvas for people to create the vibe, but like that vibe is organic, and that energy is organic, and we've been able to provide, fans with, great happiness every year, and that's been the driving force on continuing to do this, continuing to grow, which is why this, last year not having that is definitely posed its challenges mentally, but
For sure.
yeah,
Well, it's cool being a part of history.
yeah.
They say you're not supposed to pick like a favorite kid, right? But like I do. It's my middle son, Alex, for sure. So what is there a favorite year of Cali Roots for you?
Favorite year of Cali Roots. I mean, honestly, I think 2019. Every year is like it's like not to be cliche, but every year is kind of there was one year that wasn't my favorite when our numbers were a little down, but this past year, I think 2019, not past year, I keep on saying that, but in 2019, which was our 10th annual, and just kind of being there and just kind of seeing what we've created and being on stage and looking at that crowd, and it's just, that was definitely my favorite year. But again, if you asked me before that, I would probably say, oh yeah, no, year 9 was my favorite. But no, it's it was that. And I think year 5 was another one that stood out for me as one of my favorite years, just because that was our first year in the big arena. And I can remember going on stage at like 3:00 on Friday, and it was just packed. I'm like, oh my God, we did this. Like, we did this, and, we, like, these people are here, like, we provided this. And so that always stood out for me, But my next favorite year will be 2022. So.
Yes,
Definitely.
We're all looking forward to that. Now, Dan, one of the things that I do on the show is I always like to put our guests on the spot for a second. So,
okay.
If you and I crossed paths and we started talking about music and the band Sublime came up, and I picked them obviously because of the show, and I said, wow, I'm just not familiar with the band Sublime, and I was going to give you an opportunity to play one Sublime song to catch me. What song would you play?
BadFish. Easily.
Nice.
Yeah.
Quick answer. I like that.
Right off.
Yeah, no, BadFish.
I love that.
BadFish. Yeah. That's my jam right there. I still listen to that probably 3 or 4 times a week. So.
Oh, that's great. I love that.
Yeah. We play on the show a bunch. Yeah, it's definitely one of my favorites. It has been for forever. So yeah.
And you said the band that was taking over for Stick Figure was.
All right,
I had to try.
No,
that's okay. I owe it to our listeners. Listeners.
Yeah, they're influenced by Sublime. So.
All right.
Well, there you go.
There's a clue. That narrows it down.
Well, there you go. Dad, this was absolutely awesome. And
yes.
the only other thing I can ask for you is that at some point you come back on to chat with us again, because I'm sure you're going to keep promoting awesome shows. And, we'd like to have you come on and chat with us and tell some stories and let everyone know what you guys got going on.
I would love that. Thank you guys so much for having me on.
Thank you.
I've been doing more of these podcasts, and I absolutely love them. I love talking and talking. Like I said, when you're passionate about something, it's so easy to talk about it and just kind of flow. And so thank you guys for reaching out and having me on. It's been my pleasure.
A real treat for us, definitely. You guys are doing great work there. Keep it up.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Wow. Another awesome conversation from somebody who's done some amazing things. I mean, can you imagine how awesome it must be? And I guess he talks about how tough it is, but how cool must it be when your job is to just watch these awesome concerts all the time?
Yeah, that does not suck. Although, honestly, I mean, I'm sure there's a whole crazy side of it that balances it out too. You can tell he loves what he does, and that's so cool. Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, Yeah, it was really cool. So, Kelly, thank you for once again setting up an amazing guest for us. And I know that everybody is going to be looking forward to Cali Roots in 2022.
Yes.
And Dan had mentioned that Stick Figure is not going to make it, and he's going to be replacing them. There's going to be an announcement coming up. So let's have some fun with this, Kelly.
I think that's a great idea. So he did say that that announcement will be coming in a few weeks. So I think that, well, I shouldn't say I, because let's face it, it was Anna's idea, our wonderful producer. Anna came up with this great idea that we could do a giveaway. We got some phenomenal products from Humble Collective CBD, one of our sponsors, and I have had the pleasure of trying out some of their stuff and been so thrilled with it. I got some of their roller balls that have CBD oil with different essential oils and botanicals and different things in it, and I've been loving them. So I did get some extras, and Humble Collective was nice enough to throw in some extras as well, and we're going to give those away to whoever can come up with the headliner for, or the replacement for Stick Figure next year at Cali Roots.
That's awesome. A little contest. So there you guys go. Kelly's got some of those awesome CBD products. You guys want to win a CBD product? All you have to do is send in your guess at who will be the new headliner for that day at Cali Roots. You can go ahead and find this. I'll make a post in the Bradley's House group, or you can go ahead and send your guess to our email, bradleyshousepodcast@gmail.com. Let us know who you think the replacement artist will be. Now, if we get a few folks that have the right answer, we'll go ahead and put you guys into one of those random generators, and we'll pick a winner out of there. So go ahead and send over your guests. Let's have a little fun with this and get ready for Cali Roots 2022.
I think that sounds great. And I'm so excited for you guys to try these roller balls. The 4 that I've got, there's one for sleep, there's one for relaxation and anxiety, there's one for energy, there's one for headaches. Super awesome. Little roller bottles that you can stick in your bag or stick in your car or wherever you're going to need them. And they're phenomenal, and they really do work really, really effective. So I'm excited to give all 4 of these to whoever comes up with the right answer.
Do I get to play?
No, you don't. Sorry.
All right.
Well, that was so much fun talking with Dan. He's such a great guy. He and his wife, Amy, just a phenomenal couple, wonderful human beings, and they're doing so much for the music industry. I think we all owe them a big, big thanks for everything that they do.
Yeah, absolutely. So Dan mentioned where to check out all the information on Cali Roots. They've got a lot of cool different streams on their YouTube, and they're selling some merch. But if you guys want to pick up some merch to go ahead and help out the show and the Knowell Family Foundation, there's some shirts that I saw Jen post in the Bradley's House group today. There's some awesome women's shirts. And I guess as we're having this conversation, it's International Women's Day. So you guys have those awesome tank tops. Of course, there's hoodies, hats, stickers. Guys, every bit of what you purchase for this merchandise goes directly towards getting Bradley's house up and built. So please go ahead and check out the knowellfamilyfoundation.org. That's why we're doing this podcast. We come on once a week. We give you guys a little bit of entertainment. We talk to a fun guest, and it's all to get Bradley's house up and open. And you guys can help, and your support means so much. The knowellfamilyfoundation.org. And of course, there's also the Venmo and the Cash App. Damn it, I always get this wrong, Kelly. So the Cash App is =Knowell Family.
That's correct.
And the Venmo is @Knowell Foundation.
Yes, we just, we really like to keep people on their toes. And
Good.
we can't always get Knowell Family everywhere we go. So, yeah,
Right.
It's always either one or the other. Apparently there's other people out there that have already taken some of these names. Whatever, we're good with it. But yes, Cash App, we're Knowell Family. Venmo, we're Knowell Foundation. Instagram and Twitter, we're Knowell Family. Facebook, we're Knowell Foundation. You can always find us one or the other.
Absolutely. And guys, you can also catch us in the Bradley's House group on Facebook. If you're on Facebook and you're listening to this podcast and you're not in that group, get in there. Go ahead and check out the Bradley's House group. There's always awesome stuff going on in there. Tons of great people, tons of great support. And,
Wonderful group.
Yeah, it's just a really cool group to be a part of. Now, Kelly, we always like to let our listeners go with a song. And I think Dan said today that his favorite Sublime song was BadFish. So
yeah,
what do you think?
I think we end with O.A.R's cover of BadFish from the house that Bradley built.
Available at law-records.com. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us again today. I'm Jarett O.A.R. She is the executive director, Kelly Nowell. You don't have to go home, but it's time to leave Bradley's house.
Grab a hold of me, tell me that I'll never be set free, but I'm a parasite, creep and crawl, I step into the night, 2 pints of booze, tell me are you a bad fish too? No money to spend, I hope the night will never end. Lord knows I'm weak, won't somebody get me off of this reef? Baby, you're a big whale. Sing to it. Sing to it. Grab the reef when all the diving fails. I swim, but I wish I'd never learned. The water's too polluted with germs. I dive deep when it's 10 feet overhead. Grab the reef underneath my bed. Ain't got no corals with God. Ain't got no time to be old. Time